And when Angel Reese comes out and says, she ain't the only one everybody's watching, they're watching me too, they're watching others, a day later she gets ejected.
I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here. Caitlin Clark was going to get eyeballs whether she played against Angel Reese in LSU or not.
After suffering a devastating blow from basketball, Angel Reese becomes absolutely insane. Very recently, experts. In addition, the actions that Caitlin Clark took against her altered the entire WNBA. Since Caitlin first came onto the court, there has been no shortage of players who have absolutely lost their heads. This is something that we are all aware of. It seems as if Caitlin's very presence provoked an outbreak of nonsensical conduct, with players attempting to bring her down by any means possible, regardless of whether it is based on race, class, experience, or skill, or any combination of these. There is no one else quite like Caitlin Clark. In certain ways, she reminds me of Steph Curry. She takes those poorly conceived photos that Chuck and I don't like, but they end up being successful. She does this very frequently. Then do you have any idea why people despise her? Mostly due to the fact that they are unable to deal with the overwhelming amount of love and acclaim that this so-called yesterday's rookie is receiving while they have been working hard for years. And if we are being completely honest, Angel Reese is the one who is leading the charge as the most outspoken trash talker of them all. The basketball experts have roasted her so thoroughly that she is probably going to think twice, maybe even thrice, before opening her mouth again. However, you should not be concerned about this because they have done so. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, is going to experience a lot of wonderful things because of Clark. However, both of them are considered to be novices, right? Both of them are very new to the scene, and they are both really damn good at what they do. But here is the question that everyone is talking about. Caitlin is the object of Angel Reese's intense jealousy. Since they are both talented, I don't understand what the problem is. What I'm trying to say is that everything has a purpose, and this particular one is all about the spotlight. Comparing Caitlin and Angel is like comparing a seasoned chef to a line cook. They are very different from one another. Although both of them are in the kitchen, only one of them is preparing dishes worthy of a Michelin star. It has been Angel's goal to break these rookie records. An incredible feat. However, when it comes to Indiana and Chicago, Indiana is the more complete and cohesive basketball club on both sides of the ball, which makes them a competitive team in the playoffs. Chicago, on the other hand, is not as well-rounded and cohesive. At this point, Chicago is still struggling to secure a berth in the playoffs. Let us dissect it in detail. It's not just that Caitlin Clark has good statistics. The kind of numbers that cause you to do a double take is called double take. We are talking about a game average of 17.1 points, 8.2 assists, and 4.9 rebounds for each and every session. There's more to this girl than just playing basketball. Her rulebook is currently being rewritten. As a single woman army on the court, she is a triple threat who has the ability to completely change the course of a game simply by turning up. Angel Reese is not a slouch at this point. The fact that she is averaging 13.5 points and 11.9 rebounds per game is certainly not something to be sneezed at. That being said, when you compare her statistics to those of Caitlin, it is comparable to bringing a knife to a gunfight. The numbers don't lie, and they are telling us that Caitlin is in a completely different league than Angel, even though Angel is only playing one game. The reason for this is Caitlin Clark. Why everyone has a different point of view regarding what took place during that game. Your name is Caitlin Clark. Now, do I believe that it was an assault? And what do you think? Our beloved Angel did not take kindly to this information. In no way, shape, or form. Angel, who got the impression that she was unable to escape Caitlin's shadow, let her feelings to take control of the situation, and boy, did she make a mistake. As time went on, she began to give in to the green-eyed monster that is jealousy and let it take control of her. And before you realized it, she was behaving in ways that had nothing to do with healthy competition. She suddenly started acting out. During a crucial game, Angel, who was obviously frustrated, made the decision to channel her WWE wrestler, which Dan Patrick described as the high point of this drama. However, depending on how you look at it, it might be considered a low point as well. She hauled out the "you can't see main hand motion," which is in fact the one that John Cena made famous, and flung it directly in Caitlin's face. In case you were to miss it, here it is for your convenience. When you do something like that in the heat of the moment, it may appear to be a power play. However, in truth, it was more of a desperate attempt to grab some attention. It wasn't just the events that took place on the court that caused this game to garner publicity. Because of the drama that ensued, it ended up being notorious. The taunt that Reese made was comparable to a large neon sign that said, "I can't keep up with you, so here's a distraction instead." And believe me when I say that the basketball community did not ignore it after all. Everyone who has a Twitter account, including legends, commentators, and pretty much everyone else, had something to say about the little act that Reese pulled. They did not simply consider it to be a cheap shot, rather, they interpreted it as evidence that Reese was more concerned with tearing down a superior player than she was with improving her own game that she was playing. This is what Holly Rowe had to say about it. I would like to ask you a question. I am actually interested in this since it seems like the people who had the most difficulty with the trash talking were the ones who were having the most trouble. As is typical for the internet, it was flooded with memes, hashtags, and viral reactions, all of which were centered around that one particular instant. The hashtag "you can't see" became popular, but not in the way that Reese most likely wished it had. Individuals did not come together to support her, but rather used it as an opportunity to highlight how far behind Caitlin she had fallen. As time went on, it became a representation of Reese's exasperation and Caitlin's unflappable serenity. Angel was busy attempting to get into Caitlin's thoughts, but Caitlin was so focused on winning the game that she didn't even care about Angel's efforts. Despite this, however, Angel's utilization of that moment was a source of disappointment for me. You just took home the national championship. Put that opportunity to use with your team. Stop doing it for that reason. The ultimate scoreboard is right there in front of you. On the other hand, it appeared as though she was trying to find her in order to smear her reputation and take credit for Caitlin Clark. But to tell you the truth, the retort that Caitlin gave was the most powerful move of all. She had no reason to respond with a clap, and she had no reason to participate in the trash talk. That was all she required. Her game was able to convey a great deal. The performances that she gives are without a doubt incredible. The game that took place on August 30th, 2024 was one that broke records, defied expectations, and was worthy of a highlight reel. Furthermore, there was that game. Exactly, that is my absolute favorite. And girl, if you were not there, you were missing out on history. During the game against the Chicago Sky, Coach Sky Clark not only scored an astounding 31 points, but also threw out 12 assists. It was clear that this was not a typical day spent behind the desk. It was a full-fledged assertion that was made. She was the first player in the history of the Women's National Basketball Association to achieve such numbers in a regular season game, and she did it as if it were normal Tuesday. Research and statistics from ESPN indicate that Clark is the first rookie in the history of the Women's National Basketball Association WNBA to record 40 points, 15 rebounds, and 15 assists in the space of 2 games. The Fever have now won 3 games in a row, and the teams will get together on Sunday. As a result of Caitlin's incredible accomplishments, the discussion on who should be the Rookie of the Year was over before it had even begun. The quality of her scoring, the unrivaled quality of her playmaking, and the total impact that she has on the game. When it came to everyone else, it left them in the dust. Even if Angel Reese made an attempt to throw shade by mumbling about how statistics don't tell the whole story, the numbers were simply too loud to ignore. The idea that Caitlin Clark is the most valuable asset, this woman is the cash cow. In addition, evaluations follow her wherever she goes. The WNBA draft, the opening of the NBA season, ratings, and more ratings are all happening right now. I am going to bring to your attention the fact that in the 28-year history of the Women's National Basketball Association WNBA, only 9 players have ever earned more than $1 million while playing on the floor. In addition, anything Stefan is saying is not without any basis in reality. Clark is now averaging 17.1 points per game and 8.2 assists, which are both significant numbers for a rookie in the major leagues. Caitlin's all-around game is just incomparable to that of Reese, who, despite having a respectable 13.5 points and 11.9 rebounds, is unable to compete with her. When compared to an A++, it is comparable to a good B+, and everyone is aware of this fact. In addition, each time Reese attempted to minimize it, she ended in illuminating Caitlin's supremacy in an even more glaring manner. And let's speak about the consequences of this. The impact that Caitlin Clark is having on basketball at every level is nothing short of a tsunami right now. Her ascension has brought an entirely new level of interest to the Women's National Basketball Association WNBA, as evidenced by the skyrocketing viewership numbers and item sales that occur each time she is on the floor. And on social media, she has become a phenomenon that goes viral. Fans who might not have given women's basketball a second thought before are drawn in by her highlights, which are prominently displayed everywhere. Clark is more than simply a player. She is a movement that motivates a new generation to be ambitious in their dreams and to play even more aggressively. While all is going on, what is Angel Reese's path? The on-court shenanigans that she has been engaging in have become a bit of a mess, despite the fact that she began with enormous potential. The retaliation was fast and bloody in nature. Charles Barkley, who is not one to sugarcoat information, called Reese out on Inside the NBA, describing her conduct as immature and unsportsmanlike. Barkley is not one to sugarcoat things. It hurts. Shaquille O'Neal, by the way. Additionally, he did not hold back, reminding everyone that trash talk is only cool if you can back it up on the court. Caitlin was able to do this with ease, whereas Reese was unable to do so. This entire jealousy thing turned out to be the main topic of conversation. Everyone speculated that Reese's actions were acceptable because she couldn't keep up with Caitlin. The more Reese teased Clark, the wider the gap between them grew. Reese also highlighted her flaws by trying to knock Caitlin down. The general consensus? Completely changed its mind on Reese. Former supporters are abandoning her because they're weary of her antics. Instead of being her playground, social media has become a war in which she is gradually losing territory. What about hashtags? She no longer supports it. What about memes? They aren't flattering. Reese's attempts to apologize, explain, and repair harm have been met with suspicion and side eyes. The decision has been made, and Reese may not be lucky. The public has spoken, and they no longer buy her products.